up in the morning edition, a mandatory evacuation will be debated in the House of Assembly today. You'll hear how social services meeting the needs and demands across this country, and the cancer registry implemented. It's the middle of the week. Good morning, everyone. I'm LaDawn Davis, and welcome to the Morning Edition. Thank you so much for waking up with us. We can expect weather today and plans outdoors, your activities rather. Here's Chief Meteorologist Basil Dean. Good morning, Basil.
This weather report is sponsored by Bank of the Bahamas, the bank of solutions.
Good morning, LaDawn. I was at Nest Tower Cam overlooking the beautiful Paradise Island, showing just a few clouds, much improved from yesterday, but with those conditions hold, well, stay tuned. The details coming up later in the newscast. But right now, outside of our studios, we have some recent thunderstorms, temperature at 78 degrees, your relative humidity quite rich at 91%, southerly winds at 4 miles per hour, the barometric pressure 1,014.0 millibars, that's 29.92 inches, and the pressure is falling. Temperatures this morning, 78 in Marsh Harbor, Grand Toll Key at 77, 77 in Freeport, Grand Bahama, the Berry Islands, 82, 82 in Allenstown, Bimini, in Harbor Island, 82 as well. Roxanne, Eleuthera, 81 degrees, 80 degrees in Otterstown, Cat Island, Staniel Key, 80, 80 in Kemps Bay, South Andros, Fresh Creek in Central Andros at 81 degrees. In San Salvador, 80 degrees, Rum Key, 80 degrees as well, as we take you into Ragged Island, Clarence-Town, Long Island, and Crooked Island. They're reporting 81s. We're picking up 82 in Betsy Bay, Maguana, Acklands at 82, Magitani, Nagua, 83 degrees, and the Turks and Caicos Islands at 82 degrees. Your boating forecast for today. In the northwestern islands, the winds will be light and variable with very flat sea conditions, but they will be locally higher near showers and thunderstorms. Low tide will take place at 10:12 this morning, with the high tide at 4:54 in the afternoon. And for the central and southeastern islands, winds southeast at 10 to 15, wave heights 2 to 4 feet. That's going to do it for your first look at weather, the morning edition. Stay tuned. Your forecast for today, tonight is still ahead.
Basil, thanks a lot. While traffic is picking up, the streets are not wet this morning, making it easier for your commute. Lloyd Allen and the Morning Edition team is standing by with the Bahamas First traffic report.
The traffic report is sponsored by Bahamas First. First in insurance. Today, tomorrow.
Yes, good morning, LaDawn. Good morning, Bahamas. It's a great start to your hump day, Wednesday. This morning, we're reporting traffic to you from the intersection of Blue Hill Road, Wolf Road. As I've seen behind me, traffic is definitely flowing in this area, and it's a little heavier than I expected. I imagine many persons who use this intersection are getting to various areas and destinations throughout the island. That includes downtown New Providence, western New Providence, and also areas toward the east. However, this morning, one of those areas that we'd like to focus on is the sensors at your traffic light. This morning, we're going to get some information from Officer Thompson from the Royal Bahamas Police Force. Good morning, Thompson. How are you?
Good morning to you. Good morning, Bahamas. I'm very well.
So talk to us a little bit about those sensors that are built in at the traffic lights.
Yes, we are still having some issues with persons not pulling up to the stop bar. You must pull up to the stop bar in order to trigger the sensor to cause the light to change to green. If you were to be behind the stop bar, the light will continuously stay on red. So it is a must that persons pull up to the stop bar in order to cause the sensor to go, because it is designed to assist with traffic flow.
Now, we also spoke this morning about several incidents happening overnight. Give us a look at overnight traffic.
Yes, over the last 24-hour period, we had a total of 10 crashes, 3 of which were hit-and-run accidents, and we had 3 accidents involving injuries, one of which was with one of our very own motorcyclists, Corporal Christopher Wims. Our thoughts and prayers are with him and his family as he makes the long road to recovery.
All right, so any specific observations officers have made based on their initial investigations on those traffic incidents?
Yes, persons, they must pay attention, plan your route, know where you're going. That is an issue with persons not paying attention, and like I said, with the cell phone, we are addressing that, and we are reporting a number of persons for that particular offense, along with not having their driver's license on their person and other documents.
All right, so some great information to get your Wednesday and Hump Day started. And, of course, looking forward to a great Wednesday, LaDawn. I hope you have on your pink. I have on my pink pen. I'm sure Officer Thompson has his pink on somewhere. And let's continue to make this a great day. Reporting back to you in studio.
Thanks a lot, Lloyd. Now on to our top story this morning. A key piece of legislation before the House today. The focus will be on mandatory evacuation. It became an urgent issue during the passage of Hurricane Dorian and its severe impacts on Abaco and Grand Bahama. Dozens were killed and hundreds are still missing. The proposal imposes a curfew requiring residents to be indoors for specified periods, prohibits or restricts travel routes, and legislates the immediate closure of public and private business places. Now the law will make refusal to obey an evacuation order an offense punishable by 1 month in prison or a fine not exceeding $500. It will also clear first responders from any obligation to risk their safety to rescue anyone in an area designated for evacuation until the all clear is given. Now the bill is also proposing to give authorization to persons who are reasonably competent to render essential services and for persons under justifiable circumstances to suppress anarchy, looting, housebreaking, or other acts of civil disorder. The United States Congresswoman Sheila Jackson, in a congressional oversight meeting here in the Bahamas, toured several hurricane-affected areas Tuesday with U.S. Charge d'Affaires Stephanie Bowers and U.S. aid officials. The Congresswoman met with reporters at the Lynden Pinling International Airport Tuesday afternoon to give an update on the assessment. Jackson says that Congress seeks to assist with the restoration process. She also spoke on the level of aid the United States has been pouring into this country.
The United States provided about $25 million from USAID and another $8 million plus from the Department of Defense. My mission was to determine what is needed next and to look at the issue of housing, debris removal, health care, the environment. I believe the administration, the leadership here, the government has a real effort going forward to look at these issues and to provide for the residents of the islands impacted like the Grand Bahama and Abaco to come home.
Jackson added that meetings were held with the National Emergency Management Agency and the Abaco Restoration Team. She also spoke about several other assistance the U.S. will be providing.
Making sure that power is restored, and the government has a plan for that. We expect, according to their report, to have the power entities working into next week or beginning next week to help with that power restoration, to ensure that there is good health care for families, getting children back to schools. These are all matters that we can discuss in the United States Congress and determine whether USAID's technical assistance can help further that even more. Again, I was pleased to see that the government is really on top of all of these issues.
Reports of looting and other security concerns in Abaco are being addressed. This comes after several residents claimed that their lives are in fear and suggested that a curfew be considered at this time. Minister of National Security, the Honorable Marvin Dames, is responding to that concern.
You know, our job is to ensure that the people and the residents of Abaco are secure and are safe, and we will do whatever we need to do, certainly to guarantee that. We have a team that we have a police station. We have an active team. We continue to move officers in, to bring in fresh officers. And, you know, we continue to say to persons, if you have a concern, your concern is legitimate. If you were a victim, then, you know, the station is there. It's open 24/7. And it's being operated by both police and defense force officers.
Meanwhile, Area Member of Parliament for Central Grand Bahama, Aram Lewis, says he is thankful to God that his constituency was spared from receiving the brunt of Hurricane Dorian about a month ago. However, he says his family's biggest investment was not so lucky.
My constituency was mainly on the south side of Grand Bahama, so except for flooding and there's a lot of rain. Some homes that was compromised even since Matthew. Under repair, again, there were some breaches. But thank God, no casualties. We had some washouts, but again, nothing as major as on the north side. In my hometown, where I was raised on the north side of Grand Bahama, unfortunately our house was not severely damaged, but our fishing resort, our biggest investment, that is no more. That is completely wiped out, completely. No sign of it, of the building except only some debris, some tiles and some old sinks and window remains on the ground. But
And still to come in the morning edition, the increasing social demands on how officials are stepping up to meet them. That and more when the morning edition comes right back.
Look, it's simple. Fidelity can consolidate all your bills with our debt consolidation loan. Give you one monthly payment and money in your pocket.
So let me get this straight, Miss Financial Coach. You say something about cash in my pocket?
Yes.
And a savings plan with 5% interest? Wow, finally! A bank that's looking out for me. What you want me to sign?
That's not all. We also offer competitive interest rates and free financial coaching.
Miss Fidelity, you ain't hear me. Where do I sign?
You are welcome to join Apostle Gino Jennings during the First National Holy Conference of the Bahama Islands of the First Church of Our Lord Jesus Christ Incorporated. Under the theme, Stand Your Ground. Services will begin Friday, October 11th at 7:30 p.m. Continue to Sunday, October 12th at 7:30 p.m. 2 services on Sunday, October 13th at 11 a.m. and 7 p.m. See you at First Church of Our Lord Jesus Christ located in Grantstown, formerly United Apostolic Church. For more information, call 427-4848 or the church at 326-5047.
Now you can watch the ZNS network of channels absolutely free. That's right, ZNS is now broadcasting 3 separate channels, free to air on Channel 13. One channel has the regular ZNS TV HD programming. One is the Parliamentary channel, and one is the 24/7 television community page. These channels may be accessed simply by attaching either a rabbit ears antenna or an indoor amplified antenna to the RF input connector on the back of your digital television or flat screen TV. Once the antenna is connected, select TV mode and choose Auto Scan, and your TV will automatically pick up Channel 13 at no charge. Once you're on Channel 13, just use the channel selector to go to each of the 3 ZNS free channels. Antennas are available on many sites online. Free TV, ZNS brings it back to you.
Explore the world of agriculture with us. Join me, your host, Carla Palmer, for continued adventures in agriculture and the marine environment as we head into Season 2 of the program, Agriculture Now. That's Agriculture Now, moving to a new date and time, Wednesdays at 8 p.m. and Saturdays at 9 a.m., right here on the ZNS Television Network.
ZNS is everywhere you are when you download the new ZNS app. Watch our live channel to keep up with what's going on in the nation. News updates, we've got you covered. Tune into our radio stations with just a swipe. On the road, on the go, we're here with you. Available for download on the App Store and the Google Play Store.
Welcome back to the morning edition. Now 6 weeks off from the initial tragedy of Dorian, roughly 900 persons remain in shelters across this country. According to Director of Social Services Lillian Quant Forbes, assisting those evacuees remains a very important initiative.
One of the greatest things is to be able to provide for persons who find themselves in need of assistance. As we speak about shelters and disasters, the two of those, and a lot of persons believe a disaster is only a hurricane. A disaster could be a variety of things. One of the things, though, when we are looking for shelters for persons who would have experienced a disaster, will be it is a team effort. And when I say a team effort, we have different persons from different agencies who make up the core of being able to go out and assess shelters. So that's the first thing we do. Let's say maybe by March of each year, we go out as a team and we assess buildings that we believe should be used as shelters. Again, too, once it is approved, it is signed off on by the entire group.
The Social Services Director says once persons began making their way from those northern islands to various shelters in Grand Bahama and New Providence, a registration process is an initial part of their preparations.
We give them the rules and the regulations of the shelters, and then we move from there. The shelter is deactivated once NEMA gives the go-ahead to say all shelters are deactivated. The system has passed, and so we can now try to go to a sense of normalcy. I'll share this with you. We used to have in the shelter 3 to 5 days, max kind of thing. This is now, as you indicated, we're now into the 5th week of being in a shelter, which is supposed to be temporary. And so again, now you're having persons who are happy to be there for a short period of time. Now their urgency has become, when are we going to move? When are we going to move into a transitional shelter versus a collective shelter?
In the end, Quan Forbes says shelters are not for Bahamians only, but for all persons in need as they seek to rebuild their lives.
You have children who would have been through the trauma of the hurricane, and so they would have gotten counseling. The adults have gotten counseling as well. We know as a citizenry, many persons may not want to say, I need counseling, but it's not until they start to break, then we're able to say to them, listen, we would have talked about this. We think now is the time for you to speak with someone. So here is Mr. So-and-so, here's Dr. So-and-so, who can help you walk through this period where you are. The other thing too, being able to have our children try to be, even though they're in an enclosed environment, being able to have them to be exposed to play areas, recreation. That is also very high on our list.
It's been in the pipeline for 5 years, and now the country has a new National Cancer Registry available at the Eugene Cooper Building on Village Road. Director of the Bahamas National Cancer Registry, consultant surgical oncologist, Dr. Wesley Francis, talked about the importance of the registry.
A law was passed that all tissue or diagnosis of breast cancer should be forwarded to the registry. And the registry basically is just to keep a record. And then also for us to determine what our level of breast cancer is in this country. And to believe you me, we do not know at this point. We have ideas, but we do not know specifically, because for a long time, we depended more on the data from the hospital registry, but not everybody comes to the hospital. People go to private institutions, people go away, and if that's basically a leakage of all of the information, and so you would never know what's in your country. Now that we have a national cancer registry, the private sector is now giving information to that registry, the public sector is giving information to that.
Dr. Francis says executives of the new National Registry are now in partnerships with registry experts in the United States and around the region in the hopes of keeping its information current and up to standards.
We have data transfer agreements with, for example, the state of Florida, for them to pass information on to the registry. Now, this is going to take some time. Once all of that information is compiled, then we will have a better indication of, what is the real incidence, or how many cases that we have a year, how many people we have with breast cancer, and then we can use that information to formulate policies. So it may be that once we get all of this, we could say, well, the world says 40, maybe we should go to 35. But we can't do that outside of having that information.
October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and the Morning Edition team is taking a closer look at the administration of chemotherapy and the operations of the oncology department at the Princess Margaret Hospital. Now, for 11 years, employees have been using the newly renovated building to administer chemotherapy, medical surgery, and radiation oncology. We sat down with the head medical oncologist to discuss the issue.
We have clinics every day. Medical oncology clinics are twice a week, and then we have surgical oncology, radiation oncology, gynae oncology.
For years, the oncology department at the Princess Margaret Hospital has been providing top-notch healthcare services to patients in dire need of oncology treatments, especially for tumors or breast lumps. Oncologist Dr. Tracy Halkitis says a team of nurses administer chemotherapy treatments to breast cancer patients at least 16 to 18 times per day.
For the ease of administration in our population, we often suggest that patients get a port place, and it's a device that you put and you under the chest wall, upper chest wall, so that you can easily access and give the chemotherapy which goes into the systemic circulation. This is suggested because we have our body habitus is a little, large, and so most people's veins are not easily accessible, and to get the chemotherapy, it's usually given through a vein.
Dr. Halkitis says depending on the type of chemotherapy administered, the patient can experience some lasting side effects.
The protocol that we give that the patients have dubbed the Red Devil. It's particularly emetogenic, meaning nausea-forming, nausea-causing, but we can control that now much better. But it does cause hair loss. It can cause soreness in the mouth, and it can cause some diarrhea. It can cause some impairment in heart function.
With 100 Bahamian women diagnosed with breast cancer every year, Dr. Halkitis says the biggest concern is the increase in the number of younger women not only being diagnosed with breast cancer, but testing positive for the BRCA1 gene. She says that's why remaining vigilant and knowing your family history is crucial to catching the disease early.
The patient that was 21, she had the gene, okay? But she wasn't aware of that at the time, right? She didn't know her family history and what have you. Now she realized the import of that, and she had the testing done when she was diagnosed, and she's had a very good outcome. Your mother was diagnosed at 35 with breast cancer. So clearly, you should start screening a little bit earlier because you have an increased risk. There's something going on there. And while we talk about the BRCA gene, there have been cases where women have been tested. They fit the description, but they're not positive for the gene.
The gold survivor's bell that sits nestled in the heart of the facility is a reminder that all is not lost. Dr. Halkitis reminded us that while cancer is a dreadful disease, the support of family and friends provides a good dose of medicine.
Oftentimes patients come by themselves, and that's not recommended. We like them to come with someone for the first consultation. But, it's a very rewarding field because we see good outcomes. It's not all gloom and doom, and there are many options available out there. Again, if you're diagnosed early, especially with breast cancer, the chance of a good outcome and early treatment is much, much better.
Meanwhile, Health Minister Dr. The Honorable Dwayne Sands giving an update on healthcare services over in Grand Bahama following Hurricane Dorian. He says, thankfully, the government has received help from goodwill foreign healthcare professionals who have been assisting in the aftermath. Unfortunately, Dr. Sands says the majority of the RAND remains out of commission due to the black water intrusion.
Black water intrusion is water mixed with stool or sewage. That would have been throughout most of the RAND, except the area including the emergency room, the dia ward, and imaging or x-ray, and the lab. So roughly 75% of the square footage of the RAND has been taken out of commission because when we went back in, there's now mold overgrowth. We have made a decision that we have to have a solution for healthcare in Grand Bahama by time as Samaritan's Purse leaves. And And so what we're going to do is we're going to tear out whatever's contaminated, and we're going to see what's left. And then the reconstruction of the RAND on that site will depend on whether or not it is feasible to rebuild, or whether we have to now use modular structures to recreate the wards. That said, it is the hope that we have the wherewithal at some point to build a brand new climate resilient RAND Memorial Hospital. That clearly can't happen in 6 months.
And still to come, we take a closer look at the #1 industry. We speak with the tourism minister live, so stay close.
You are welcome to join Apostle Gino Jennings during the First National Holy Conference of the Bahama Islands of the First Church of Our Lord Jesus Christ Incorporated, under the theme, Stand Your Ground. Services will begin Friday, October 11th at 7:30 p.m., continue to Sunday, October 12th at 7:30 p.m. 2 services on Sunday, October 13th at 11 a.m. and 7 p.m. See you at First Church of Our Lord Jesus Christ, located in Grantstown, formerly United Apostolic Church. For more information, call 427-4848 or the church at 326-5047.
Your mission is intact. Yes, Mom! Agent 1, what is a touch? Physical contact, Mom. Agent 2, what is a good touch? Touches that make you feel alright, Mom. Such as? A high five, a handshake, even a kiss, Mom. Good. Now, Agent 3, what is a bad touch? Touches that make you feel not so good, Mom. Like a slap, a kick, a pinch, and most important, if someone touches your private part. And what do we do when someone gives us a bad touch? You tell a trusted adult, Mom. For help, Mom. Tell them, don't do that, Mom. Agent, I see that you understand. Now it's your mission to spread this information. Just remember that good touches are okay, and bad touches are not okay. So, Agent, go spread the word. Yes, Mom.
Welcome back to the Morning Edition. Spence Court, a small corner of Wilson Track, was the scene of the country's latest homicide. Now, according to police reports, a young man was sitting outside his home after 12 noon Tuesday when the occupants of a gray car pulled up and opened fire on the victim, who was later identified by family members as 22-year-old father of 2 boys. The police are seeking the public's assistance in solving this and all other related matters. Here's Superintendent Shanta Knowles.
I don't want to say a hot spot. I believe that people in the community may have information on incidents that are brewing. And what we want to do is encourage people to, when they know of incidents, to let us know so that we could intervene and save the lives of our young men. We are committed to working these communities and making them safe for everyone. I believe that our communities are still safe. There are some stuff going on that people know. And again, we are begging them to give us the information so that we can make it safe for all of them and save the lives of the young men in our communities.
Knowles said the partnership with members of the Royal Bahamas Police Force and the communities throughout the country is paying dividends as a number of arrests have been made.
You see the good work that the police has been doing over the past months. Our operations continue in this area and in other divisions. You saw that last week we put a young man before the courts. He was charged in connection with 4 homicides. And again, yesterday, we put a young man before the courts in connection with recent homicides. So that speaks to the work that the police is doing in the community. That also speaks to the partnership that we have with members of the community. And we want to say thank you to those who understand the importance of partnering with the police and bringing our communities or making our communities safe.
The defense in the Shane Gibson bribery trial is set to complete cross-examination of prosecution star witness Jonathan Ash when the case resumes today. Much of Tuesday's evening session was spent with the jury excused from the courtroom. However, before the jury was removed from the courtroom, attorney Keith Knight QC had questioned Ash if he gave money to Deborah Bastien, asking for a yes or no response. Ash kept responding for a payout I did. The trial resumes at 10 o'clock today. Meanwhile, new traffic legislations or regulations now in effect for the past 3 days, and traffic cops have been busy ensuring that drivers are obeying the laws. The yellow box, which is installed at 8 locations across the capital, replacing those areas to ensure a smooth traffic flow. The acting controller of road traffic, Bradley Sands, on the implementation.
Yellow Box was started as a result of a study that was done by the Ministry of Transport and the Ministry of Works. We came to the conclusion that most intersections were being blocked by road users, and so what came into effect was, how can we make this intersection free? And herein came the Yellow Box, so that persons will understand that you cannot block the intersection. Persons leave home late, and instead of keeping the intersection free, they want to block the intersection. And the Yellow Box is simply saying, do not block the intersection, because if you block the intersection, there is a fine, as mentioned by the superintendent in charge of traffic, that starts at $400. People need to understand that the intersection need to be free, just in case of emergency vehicles need to access. We don't know where emergency vehicles are going, but they cannot pass because the intersections are blocked. Herein came the study to place the Yellow Box in place, and that's why you see Yellow Box at major intersections, simply saying to the payment public, keep it clear.
Now, in our business feature this morning, Lloyd Allen highlights one of the dreams of a local businessman, which has blossomed into a big reality.
Yeah.
Carmita Ingram says since she was a teenager courting her late husband, Philip Ingram Sr., she visited the original Oasis night spot, which became a favorite for the couple. In fact, they had dreamt of owning their own business, but never imagined it would be the hangout spot of their youth.
We used to rent it for about 5 years, and as time changed, we decided to purchase it.
Ingram says life was good for many years. However, things changed after her husband and son were diagnosed with a terminal illness.
My husband was diagnosed with cancer at first, and then my son also, which my husband had 3 years, and my son, we weren't even expecting him. He had a headache and discovered that he had brain tumor.
Within a month, the two died, and the Ingram family was left emotionally and financially drained. However, in the family was a hidden gem, Carmita's son, Philip Jr. Since he was 15, he had shadowed his father as a businessman, helping him to gain insight of running the family business, or one day his own.
I used to manage the web shops and the whole business. I was like the assistant manager next to him.
Philip Jr. says after his father passed away, life was difficult. Sometimes the family struggled to put food on the table, but a silver lining was in a suggestion from his mother for him to carve out a new path in a unique way. Ingram says 2 years ago when he first started Oasis Car Wash, the first 6 months were difficult, but as he remained committed, he discovered his road back to success, securing the future of Oasis with his car wash. He says his goal is to create Oasis 2.0.
I want to start off at my wholesale liquor store on the end. I'm going to get that open up pretty soon. So when customers, when they come down here, they can sit in the back here, once they get their car clean, they could walk on the other end of the building and sit down and have a nice cold beverage or a nice snack. And you would even forget your car is over here getting clean.
And while his road to financial success has been long, he says there is one word that encapsulates his journey.
Bless.
From riches to rags and back again is how Ingram sees himself, and says for others who find themselves in challenging circumstances in life, remember to never give up, because dreams may be deferred, but at some point they still come true. Reporting from Oasis Drive, Coral Harbor, Lloyd Allen, ZNS Network News.
The The Rotary Club of New Providence will be focusing on the theme economic development in the community at TIT's meeting for the month of October. The club's past president, Inga Boswick, says with Hurricane Dorian having ravaged Grand Bahama and Abaco, the club deemed it necessary to invite key people to address the body this month. Boswick says the club will focus on current topical issues to keep members abreast of everything that is taking place in this country.
Next week, we will have, which will be the 15th, we will have the Minister of Education, Mr. Jeffrey Lloyd, who will speak on post-Dorian and the educational system. And on the 22nd, we have the Minister of Immigration, Minister Ellsworth Johnson, and he will also speak on the economic development in the communities post-Dorian and I guess with the immigration situation. And lastly, bringing up the end, we will have Mr. Stephen Coakley Wells, yes, and he will be speaking about the financial aspect in the country today.
Stay close, we've got more news right after this quick break. You're watching The Morning Edition.
Hepatitis is the inflammation of the liver, which is the organ responsible for filtering toxins from the body, producing bile for digestion, and producing proteins and clotting factors. The most important cause of hepatitis worldwide is viruses, of which there are 5 main types: A, B, C, D, and E. Hepatitis B and C are major health challenges globally, affecting over 300 million persons worldwide. The suspicion of hepatitis may be a challenge as there are typically no symptoms. However, if infected, non-specific symptoms may include decreased appetite, nausea, vague abdominal discomfort, jaundice or yellow eyes, and abnormal liver function tests. If not treated, hepatitis of any type can lead to cirrhosis and liver cancer, which leads to over 1 million deaths worldwide. If you suspect you may have been exposed to the virus that causes hepatitis, talk to your doctor today and get tested.
This public service announcement is brought to you by the Public Hospitals Authority in conjunction with the Medical Association of the Bahamas and the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas.
Our marine resources were once considered inexhaustible. Conch and reef fish like grouper were abundant everywhere, and it seemed as if the lobster catch would rise forever. But today, there is a downward trend that affects everyone. Researchers say we can reverse the trend by protecting more marine habitats. And the good news is that most Bahamians strongly support efforts to halt further decline. Tripling the size of our network of marine parks will mean more fish and conch for everyone, now and for the future, as well as more recreational and ecotourism opportunities. Today, only 10% of our waters are protected. Surveys show that most Bahamians consider protection of our marine environment to be a top national priority. More protection means more benefits for everyone, now and in the future. It's a win-win-win strategy for the economy, for Bahamians, and for nature. Protect our sea, protect our way of life, protect the Bahamas. See the future. Visit Bahamas Protected on Facebook to learn more about marine protected areas.
To everybody out there, it was Game 4 of the WNBA Finals last night. A must-win for Jonquel Jones and the Connecticut Sun. Jones, a much better effort in Game 4 with the Suns back against the wall, stepping up and staving off elimination, but more importantly, avoiding having to watch the Washington Mystics celebrate on their home court with a 90-86 win. Jones took only 10 shots, was 6 for 10 from the field, and finished with 18 points, 13 rebounds, and 3 assists to force the decisive Game 5 come Thursday in Washington. Also from last night, DeAndre Ayton with 18 points, 32 rebounds in the Phoenix Suns preseason opener against the Minnesota Timberwolves as the Suns won 111-106. They are back on court Thursday in Sacramento to take on Buddy Hield and the Kings. Mother Nature easing up for the New Providence Softball Association to get into playoff games last night at the Bankers Blue Hills Field. In the ladies' opener, the inventive Intellect Lady Warriors eliminated the Brackets with a 11-3 win, taking the series 3-1 and moving on to face the Sunshine Auto Wildcats in the championships starting on Saturday. On the men's side, the Commando Security Truckers came with a full tank of gas and rolled into the championship with a blind job of the Chances Mighty Mitts 12-zip. They now move on to defend their title against the CS Enterprise Hitmen.
The game was a good game. I see what I expect to see. The guys really listened tonight. They sacrificed their body and everything else what they had to do. When they got the bunt sign, they put down the bunt sign. They wasn't worrying about hitting the ball. They just was worrying about pushing the next man around. And when it's time to hit the ball, they hit the ball. Go back to the drawing board, start waking out back again, and get ready for championship again.
Meantime, our CAC bodybuilders fine-tuning as they get set to leave tomorrow for the games in the Dominican Republic this weekend. It's a very small team of 12 athletes with lots of first-timers like Bertram Miller and David Domerville. The Bahamas will try to improve on last year's performance and push it to another level.
I don't have any fears because for me it's a challenge. Any challenge is a good challenge for me. Just going to see what this old body can do against these young guys. For me, it's just having fun. You can expect from me as well as the whole team to give our best foot forward, to give 100% effort and to try and bring the goal. Whatever goal is there, we're trying to take. Like I say, we're going to put our best foot forward and we're going to try to bring home this goal.
You know, it's the last couple of days. We can't do anything too heavy right now. All we can do is keep the muscle pumped and push for the pump. That's what we're looking for. Because we know, we travel on Thursday, so we're in a crunch time now. So it is my first CSEs, so I'm expecting a lot of good competitors out there. But at the same time, like I said in the last interview, we do have a good package. We have a good crew, and I really believe that what we're going for is for the goal.
Amateur boxing in the Bahamas taking a serious blow. As for one, there aren't much shows being put on, and also there are not enough boxers to field teams. President Vincent Strawn in a corner taking the blows as well.
We have a number of boxers who are in the feeder program, but a lot of them are not really ready for even regional competition. So we're trying to groom them at home, and where it's possible, we be able to place them even in international, where there are junior and senior competition.
Strawn hopes to have enough boxers to travel to the Caribbean Championships set for this coming December in Trinidad.
We have a female boxer also who has won a silver medal early this year at the Bird Sugar Championship, and she's not training right now for personal reasons, but we're looking forward to have her back in the gym in short order. And so yes, we're working hard, and there are other boxers in the country, in the island, New Providence, who are training, but from what I understand, they're only training to turn professional. They're not interested in amateur boxing. So we have to go with what we have and try to build on this foundation. It's not what I want it to be or where we want it to be, but we have to cut our cloth to fit our suit.
Now we take a trip up to Bimini, where there is a preseason basketball tournament on for this coming weekend, tipping off on Thursday at the Gateway Gym, being held in honor of the late Sugar Roberts. Joining us this morning is organizer Dion Murphy. Dion, how did this tournament come about?
This tournament basically was the idea of myself and a friend of mine, Roosevelt Lockhart. I always wanted to put together a basketball tournament, and I thought now is the perfect time to have a preseason invitational basketball. You look at the NBA have preseason basketball, so hey, why not have it here locally?
Now we understand that there are 6 teams confirmed.
Teams expected to be here on the island. The Discount Distributors Rockets out of Nassau, Caro Contractor Pirates out of Nassau, Then we have all the way from Freeport, the Grand Bahama MSC. From Abaco, they go by Abaco Avengers, along with the Bimini Knights and Kool-Aid Bombers.
And with this being off-season, how do you see the competition level at this time?
The level of competition, I will say basically, is balanced. Reason being, all teams are skillful and each team have talented players. Therefore, we look for a very competitive showdown and it should be fun.
Once again, the tournament tips off Thursday over there in Bimini, and that's going to do it for sports. Thanks for watching. Basil comes right back with weather. He's going to tell you about all that's happening out there.
Apostle Gino Jennings during the first National Holy Conference of the Bahama Islands of the First Church of Our Lord Jesus Christ Incorporated, under the theme, Stand Your Ground. Services will begin Friday, October 11th at 7:30 p.m., continue to Sunday, October 12th at 7:30 p.m. Two services on Sunday, October 13th at 11 a.m. and 7 p.m. See you at First Church of Our Lord Jesus Christ, located in Grantstown, formerly United Apostolic Church. For more information, call 427-4848 or the church at 326-5047.
Individuals who have been separated from their pets during the passage of Hurricane Dorian are advised that they have an additional 30 days to claim their animals. During the period of October 4th through November 2nd, owners can claim their animals via www.barkbahamas.com or via email doriananimalrelief@gmail.com, or they can call 427-7729. Evidence of ownership is required. The International Fund for Animal Welfare is the only international organization approved by the Department of Agriculture to rehabilitate displaced animals. Any other organization removing animals should be reported to the Department of Agriculture at 397-7450 or 1. Animals not reclaimed during the 30-day period will be put up for adoption into loving homes. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Agriculture and Marine Resources and the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas.
In 1953, the United States began using female names for storms, and by 1978, both male and female names were used to identify northern Pacific storms. This was then adopted in 1979 for storms in the Atlantic Basin. The National Hurricane Center does not control the naming of tropical storms. Instead, there is a strict procedure established by the World Meteorological Organization. For Atlantic hurricanes, there is a list of male and female names which are used on a 6-year rotation. The only time that there is a change is if a storm is so deadly or costly that the future use of its name on a different storm would be inappropriate. In the event that more than 21 named tropical cyclones occur in a season, any additional storms will take names from the Greek alphabet: Alpha, Beta, Gamma, Delta, and so forth. Here are the names of storms for the 2019 Atlantic hurricane season: Andrea, Barry, Chantal, Dorian, Erin, Fernand, Gabriel, Umberto, Imelda, Jerry, Karen, Lorenzo, Melissa, Nestor, Olga, Pablo, Rebecca, Sebastian, Tanya, Van, and Wendy. This public service announcement was brought to you by the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas in conjunction with the National Emergency Management Agency.
Hey y'all, what's up?
Hey, what's that?
What y'all getting?
Listen, I've been waiting to march down some lobster, yeah? Hi, I'm Matthew. I will be you guys waiter today. Can I take your order?
Oh, I've been jonesing for some grouper dread.
Y'all see this?
See, this ain't gonna work. Where the fish gone though?
But how though?
Don't leave our children with no fish in their future. Protect our sea. Protect our way of life. Protect the Bahamas. To learn how you can help, find us on Facebook at Bahamas Protected. See the future.
Continues to contribute more to the Bahamian economy than any other industry. Visitors spend millions of dollars in the local economy, and this morning, the minister joins us live with our Lloyd Allen. Good morning again, Lloyd.
Yes, good morning, LaDawn. This morning we're here at Rawson Square. It's about 6 weeks off from the passing of Hurricane Dorian. One of the biggest efforts from the government has been spreading the message to the rest of the world that the islands of the Bahamas outside of Abaco and Grand Bahama remain open for business. This morning we have the Minister of Tourism, the Honorable Dionisio de Aguilar, who's joining us, giving us some insight on how successful has the government been in spreading that message. Good morning, Minister.
Good morning. How are you? Yes, we're about 6 weeks on from the storm. We were on a really good wicket for the first 8 months of the year. Tourism arrivals were up approximately 13%. Around 5 million foreign visitors had come for the first 8 months of the year. And then Hurricane Dorian hit. And we've seen about a 10% decrease in our foreign arrivals since then. Obviously, Abaco and Grand Bahama have been taken out of our suite of possible destinations in the Bahamas. And we are now getting out. All senior executives in the Ministry of Tourism are going overseas, going to the United States, Canada, Europe, with the major networks, trying to get the message out that the Bahamas is made up of 16 different destinations, 14 of which are completely unscathed from the storm, open for business and ready to receive foreign visitors. And we are having a substantially positive result. A lot of the networks and publications and major newspapers are offering the Bahamas free access to their subscribers. And as we approach Christmas, we see the decrease diminishing. So that shows me that we're having a positive result in letting the world know that much of the Bahamas is open for business, and they should continue with their vacation plans to come to the Bahamas, and they're keeping their reservations. So I'm very optimistic that we will be able to maintain a robust Christmas and a robust Thanksgiving. Obviously, we have to keep on the road. I will be traveling a lot, going to major markets in the United States and Canada and Europe, just to keep pounding that message. The Bahamas is not destroyed. The Bahamas is open for business. Please come. The best way that you can help our country is to visit our country, to come and see how beautiful our waters are, how exceptional our beaches and excursions are, and just how wonderful our people are. So I think that we're going to keep on that message, keep pounding that message, social media, letting everybody know that the Bahamas is open for business.
And on that message of us being open for business, I know one of the successes post-Dorian has been the signing of the Carnival Port deal in Grand Bahama. But I know also that prior to Dorian, we also, the government started talking about the redevelopment of Port Nassau. Talk to me a little bit about how that's coming along.
So the deal for the redevelopment of the Prince George Wharf is done. The deal was signed at the end of September. And we are in the process of transitioning control of the port over to the new port operator, Nassau Cruise Port Limited, which of course is a consortium between Global Ports, which is the largest cruise port operator in the world, and Bahamian investors. So that process is very exciting. It's going to involve a $250 million investment in the Port of Nassau. We are expecting it to bring about the rebirth of downtown, the renaissance on Bay Street. This substantial investment is absolutely critical because so many other ports in the Caribbean are getting upgraded. Even within the Bahamas, all the private islands, and now Grand Bahama is getting upgraded. We couldn't leave our premier port behind. So we're very excited about that project. And then obviously the one you mentioned, the signing of the deal in Grand Bahama, which was monumentally uplifting given what had happened to Grand Bahama. The Carnival had decided to keep going and keep moving forward to bring about the redevelopment of Grand Bahama and to start at least a turnaround in the bad news that had hit Grand Bahama. Obviously, we're still negotiating with Royal Caribbean and ITM Group on the acquisition of the Grand Lucayan Hotel and the building of a new port there by Royal Caribbean. So there are a lot of irons in the fire, a lot of projects that are getting started. And so despite the devastation of Hurricane Dorian, I'm very optimistic that investment will keep rolling. People are very upbeat. It's amazing how many friends out there that the Bahamas really has, and how people are getting the message that even though 2 of our major islands have been destroyed, 14 of our other major destinations have remained open. What we've been saying is, it's 550 miles from the north of the Bahamas to the south of the Bahamas. The very northern 2 islands have been impacted. We expect them to rebound in short order. But meanwhile, you can continue to travel to our other destinations. For example, I say to them, look, if you go to Florida, if a hurricane were to hit Miami, would it stop you going to Orlando? If you were going to the Northeast, if a hurricane had hit Washington, would it stop you going to New York? This is the message we're getting out to show them that while this storm has been incredibly impactful, much of the country is still open for business.
Now, I also remember a few months ago, Anthony Ferguson from Global Ports would have spoken in regards to the redevelopment of downtown Nassau from Global Ports at the time. One of those components that was a challenge for many of those persons at that town hall was the possible removal of the Surrey experience. Talk to us about, you said the deal was signed in September. Talk to us about some of those components that were inclusive in that deal.
So it's going to start off with the expansion of the piers to accommodate additional cruise ships. As many people know, there are about just over 100 cruise ships under construction right now. So we're going to need additional berthing space if we want to keep ahead of the game. Then all of the buildings on the port are going to be demolished and rebuilt. I think a lot of you have seen architect renditions of what those are going to be, but it's going to bring about a fresh, new look to Prince George Wharf. In addition to that, it's going to open up a lot of additional retail options for Bahamians to have stores, small businesses. We're not looking for big established businesses. These are going to be medium and small businesses. They're going to have excellent working conditions, a brand new venue. It also included an amphitheater, a place for major musical events or possible ways for Bahamians to express their culture and what it means to be Bahamian down in the port in a nice setting. And then obviously moving out of the port, we're hoping that provides the renaissance of other stores and other venues on Bay Street to say, hey, if the port is upgrading and uplifting itself, then we too should do the same on Bay Street. So that is, I'm very excited. It's $250 million investment. It's going to be a 25-year arrangement where they're going to invest their $250 million and they're going to operate the port, at the end of which we get it back. The Bahamian people will always own the port. And so, it's exciting that it's finally about to happen. It's about to launch. And I'm very optimistic about the great things that will come down there.
Another component that was brought up during that town hall was the idea of keeping a lot of the historical components of downtown Nassau, as well as local entertainers having a space to really showcase what they have to offer regards to culture. Any insight on that regard?
Well, obviously, we're going to, as I mentioned, build an amphitheater. So that's going to provide the venue for, the cruise ship passengers to come off and for Bahamian artists to perform in a spot where they will be able to meet. So you will have the artists coming to the amphitheater. The cruise ship passengers can easily stay. We want to provide the incentive for cruise ship passengers to overnight, to stay here in the Bahamas, go to our restaurants, go to our venues. And then obviously there's going to be wonderful parking. So Bahamians, we're trying to build this port with Bahamians in mind. So they return to Bay Street. A lot of Bahamians don't come down to Bay Street anymore because there's no parking, there's nothing to do. And so we're trying to provide the necessary components to attract Bahamians back to the heart and soul of the Bahamas. And so that's why we made sure that when we looked at redesigning, we took into account all of the constituencies that may be interested in using the port, and so therefore we made sure that we included all of them.
So some great insight there. And of course, as we conclude this morning, just a reminder, this is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I'm glad to see the minister is wearing his pink for the month. And so, of course, that's some good celebration. LaDawn, reporting back to you in studio.
Thanks a lot, Lloyd. Meanwhile, our meteorologist, Basil Dean, is standing by with our final weather outlook. Good morning again, Basil.
Good morning, LaDawn. In the tropics, we have this non-tropical low well to the east of Bermuda. It has about a 40% chance of becoming either a subtropical cyclone or a tropical cyclone over the next 4 to 5 days, but no problem for us. But we're looking at a frontal boundary that's moving in our direction, should push through the northwest Bahamas by tomorrow afternoon, and that will increase our shower activity in the afternoon tomorrow. Our forecast for today calls for partly sunny, somewhat on the humid side, and there could be 1 or 2 showers, even an isolated thunderstorm popping up, with a high temperature getting up to 86 degrees. And tonight we're looking at improved conditions, partly cloudy, a bit on the warm side, low temperature 76 degrees, and your extended weather forecast over the next several days. Showers increasing in the afternoon tomorrow as that frontal system moves through, a couple lingering around into Friday, but things will clear up over the weekend. So a beautiful weekend shaping up for you with lots of sunshine. LaDawn?
Thanks a lot, Basil. And that does it for us this morning. See you right back here tomorrow at 6:30 a.m. for more Morning Edition. Once again, for the entire Morning Edition team, I'm LaDawn Davis. Make it a great day, everyone.